the reason I like him a lot is because he knows the flaws of the Jedi Order and he knows everything, but he's still part of the Council. He's also like Ahsoka's sort of like on off again sort of apprentice here and there. Like they have that like
Like Uncle Plo Koon.
it's like
Uncle Plo
Uncle
Koon. Yep.
Coon, yeah.
Uncle Koon. No, don't say that.
Uncle Plo.
What the hell? I want to see what King's Sprinkle.
We see multiple things to choking General Grievous.
Crushing his chest plate.
Yeah. Crushing his chest.
I hate saying I'm a bully.
She knew this. She's
I think we have the schools. They're huge.
Yeah.
Never mind then. All right, well, welcome to the Basic Nerd Experience. This is your host for the most that looks like a ghost.
Damn it, I have water with me.
Yeah, sorry. Cool. That's our little dumb introduction. So, Andres, it's good to see your beautiful Chilean self, man. Dude, the Indiana Jones, man, was a lot of fun, man. We're like it's actually pretty impressive how much people without much like promotion, how the response has been for that episode.
Dude, it's a serious crime that we've been keeping this away from our fans, dude. Like, although we do have 56 subscribers only, man, like they're clamoring for more. So let's just give it to them.
So in the words of a creed, so let's go there. And let's go there to our guest of honor today, which is Ethan Hyde. Welcome, Ethan.
Thank you very much for having me. It's fun to be here.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much to be here. And we talked to the INC about different sports stuff, and we always talk about like, we always have like little like tastes of Star Wars, like knowledge we want to get into. But today I want us to get into that 3-course, 4-course meal of Star Wars to go from there. So yeah,
the nitty gritty.
The nitty gritty with some nice gravies.
My favorite.
Like sorry, I didn't mean to. Good one.
I was cooking.
Good, nice. Let him cook.
He was chefing him up.
So speaking of cook, let's cook up some ideas here for Star Wars. So one of the coolest things I wanted to do. One of the coolest things I want to do. Sorry, that was very selfish what I just said. One of the things that I really want to talk about is about how I think when we love Star Wars, we always think of our favorite characters. And specifically, when you're a kid, you're always like, you want to be a Jedi, Sith, bounty hunter, maybe a smuggler, you want to be a droid. Like, there's different things that you want to be. But let's be honest, when you first start to watch Star Wars, you want to be a Jedi. You want to be with Luke. You want to be with the guys, the goats and stuff like that. You want to be against evil, stuff like that. Maybe you get older and you like to be cooler and want to be a Sith. But here I want to, just for this episode, maybe we could do something in the future. But today I want to do is I want us to pretend like in that Jedi temple in Coruscant, things were good back then, and everything was good
before the dark times,
before the Empire.
I'm so glad we're already up to a roaring start. That's right. Yeah, man. This is the place where finally you can like get the nerd stuff out of there. You're not in the Starbucks line like before the dark times. I'm like, yeah, before you ordered a dark coffee. Move on. It's just nice to have that. So we're back in Coruscant and everything's all good in the hood there. And with this, we're younglings. I'm pretending like we're younglings. It's time for us. We got our first lightsabers. We got a lot of first everything lessons. But who's your master? Who is someone that wants you to teach you the ways of the Force? And so I think it'd be kind of who's your space daddy? What'd you say?
You continue. I'm sorry.
No, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I was gonna say, is that Daddy Arcana? But he's not a Jedi, Andres.
That's right, but that mustache though. Oh god.
Oh man. Anyway, so speaking of Organa, let's get this organic conversation into here as well. So with this, I like to go around and I'm gonna start with Mr. Padawan Ibe here, and I want to see what master, because him and I were actually talking before. We didn't say which masters we wanted. We might think it's the same one. So I'm curious to see what Ethan's answer is. So Ethan, you just became a Padawan. Who do you want your master to be? Who do you want you to teach the ways of the Force?
Okay, I just got my new Padawan braid, and so I'm ready to finally get a master. And after thinking about this for quite a while, this character, I don't know if in actual Star Wars canon if he has a Padawan, so I might just be his. He kind of mentored Ahsoka
I knew it.
but I want Plo Koon to be my guy.
Damn,
Plo
yeah,
Koon.
dude, and that's mine too. It's just like, man, that's crazy.
The reason being, like, I don't know, Plo Koon just seemed like such a great role model for Ahsoka. Not that Anakin wasn't, he wasn't. But like an actual adult with maturity that she
Yeah.
could lean on, aside
Yeah.
from like Obi-Wan. And I mean, come on, Plo Koon's just so badass. And he's also like Dave Filoni's favorite
Yeah,
character.
exactly. Like he's like his favorite Jedi. He dressed up as him in like the Revenge of the Sith premiere and like was getting
Right.
candy to kids and stuff like that. I mean, that doesn't look good if you're handing
Yeah.
candy to
And
kids. But anyway,
and-
but it all good fun though in this premise. Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
But yeah, you're saying Padawan Fuentes.
Thanks, Daddy. Not to mention the fact that Plo Koon is arguably, according to the lore, the best weapon wielder of a lightsaber, supposedly speaking. Like, based on what I've seen with the Clone Wars or with the movies, I don't know. But when I've seen Plo Koon in action, he dominates. He really does. Not just with a lightsaber, but also apart from Obi-Wan, I think he can be a front runner for the negotiator. You know what I mean? Because he to me embodies what a Jedi should do should a situation arouse itself where it's close to violence, but you want to make sure you mitigate that, sidestep that violence, and find a better way. That's Plo Koon in a nutshell, if you ask me.
Very diplomatic and humble person. Like he's a very like he reminds me a lot of like Qui-Gon, like as well. Like he
The elder statesman. a little bit.
exactly, and he well like Dave Filoni said that. I remember like I was researching this. When there was thoughts that Plo Koon was supposed to be like a samurai, so they're thinking about having him actually have a Japanese accent. But Dave Filoni changed that. He's like, no, I see him more as like a Gandalf actually.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't know that. I thought that was pretty interesting, and I just feel like he's like. The reason I like him a lot is because he knows the flaws of the Jedi Order and he knows everything, but he's still part of the Council. And
Yeah.
so it's like he's like the Qui-Gon that's still in the Council. That's why I really have a lot of respect for it. I think he knows what's best. And he's also like Ahsoka's sort of like on off again sort of apprentice here and there. Like they have that like
Uncle Plo Koon.
it's like Uncle
Uncle Plo
Uncle
Koon.
Koon. Yeah.
Uncle Koon. No, don't say that.
Uncle Plo. You know, I think what really sold me on Plo Koon as a character and just like falling in love with that character
Yeah.
was how he treated the clones. And I think you know what I'm
Yes.
talking about when I'm saying rising malevolence,
Mhm.
when he was in
Oh.
space with Boost and Sinker, and you know their ship's been destroyed, they've been left for dead. There's this like growing attitude amongst the clones that people don't care about them because they're just, you know, organic beings made to be slaughtered in a war that doesn't make any sense to them.
Yeah.
But in the face of utter, you know, death, Plo Koon's out there showing compassion and like, hey, you guys are human beings. I'm going to treat you like human beings.
Right.
And I think for a show that debuted when I was in kindergarten, that's like, that's just so real. And I didn't really appreciate it then, but just
Yeah.
watching, you know, I've watched it, you know, so many times over and over again since then. That's how much I appreciate it now.
Well, like in the line he said was like it was during the malevolence when like all hope was lost, like the life pod was destroyed, and battle droids are like going in there and like defeating like pretty much trying to do everything, and Plo Koon and them had to like go outside and do everything, and they're like, hey, all hope is lost, and he's like, no, why do you? Well, I forget the
The
line.
exact line was either Sinker or Boost saying, "We're clones, sir. We're meant to be expendable." And then Plo says, "Not to me."
Not to yeah.
And then that
Major
connection, and then
W.
major W, and so, and also like to show the connection of Ahsoka, like Ahsoka, like
Right.
finds a location,
Turning around.
like no, I sense it, and it's like, well, what are you doing? And
Yep.
Anakin, and then you got R2 like in the background, like a backseat driver, like what are you doing?
Yeah, right. And Plo was the one that found Ahsoka,
Exactly,
you know, on her
and
home planet.
discovered her
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So he's a very underrated character. Like I would love like a live action Plo Koon show.
Okay.
I would love that too. Oh,
Tales of the Jedi season 2. I want to see Plo Koon discovering
Oh my
Ahsoka.
god! Like you can just do a whole season of that.
If we got a background about Count Dooku being on his time in as a Jedi, we can certainly get Plo Koon in there too.
Absolutely.
Yes, please, Dave.
And-
Please.
Please, Dave, you can make it happen, man. You are the chief boss now. Don't let Kathleen Kennedy crush your dreams. You can.
Yeah,
do it.
don't make her become the big boss Nass, bro. Seriously, do it.
Do it. Speaking of doing it, you got to do the impression of Boss Nass for us.
Maybe we saw being friends.
I love it. Oh my goodness.
Thank you very much,
Oh,
sir, for
man.
that. But no, Plo Koon, I mean, you and I, we can go back and forth here, but like, I just think that he's also like a really good swordsman, like you were saying, Andres. Like, he has the form 5, more kind of defense kind of strategy, and kind of like, I, I was really nerding out, and this is the place to do that about different ways that he does this. And I think one of his strategies, I could be wrong, is that he lets the opponent like be aggressive and let's like get them on the offense, but she lets them getting tired. And by the time they're tired, he has the advantage and like strikes when it's proper. Like he's really good with Paris. He's also has like in tune with the force. He's also very good with the surroundings. Like he's very good telekinesis. Like he's really good of like just controlling objects. He doesn't even see. So his sensibility is great with the in tune with the force. Again, like he's really good with the mark of a blade and just a sense of surroundings and a great pilot, like a great like basically all the things that Obi-Wan Kenobi described and again to be in A New Hope is basically the archetype of what a Jedi is. And to me, when I think of like a great Jedi master, Plo Koon, like when, I think obviously like nobody's perfect, like the Hannah Montana song, nobody's perfect. And um, shout out to Miley for getting her first Grammy last night. Anyways, to go from there, um, so to go from there, like Plo Koon has that humble, but he was still wrong for like when Ahsoka got in front of the trial and was like
Yep.
was falsely, and even he was like, "I'm so sorry," like I thought it was, and it looked like from their side they were correct.
On that note, I've always wondered what Plo Koon was thinking after Ahsoka left the Order, because you
Yeah.
mentioned like how aware he was of the flaws of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And when Ahsoka made the decision to leave, you could see obviously Anakin's the most crushed out of anybody, and I know you both remember that scene. It's hard to tell emotion when it comes to Plo Koon because he's wearing that mask,
Right.
but you could visibly see the sadness on Plo
Yeah.
Koon's face during that scene, how crushed he was.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he ever had any private thoughts, against the Jedi Order after Ahsoka left.
Well, and then like finding the lightsaber of Sifo Dyas.
Oh yeah. I forgot
Oh,
about that.
Sifo, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things, like, he's so important to, like, not only the, like, the Jedi lore in Star Wars, but, like, just the prequels alone. Because he's, like, a sole component of, like, deciding different stuff as well. And I'm glad that Dave, I was always said Dave Lombardo. He's the former drummer of Slayer. Dave Filoni, Dave Filoni, doing that. So I know that's really good, and that's you don't want that for someone who has a passion for Star Wars. That it's hard to argue also with the results of what Dave Filoni has done. Like Clone Wars was his first path to goodness, and going on from there. So Dave Filoni, if you have if this episode finds you, please make a Plo Koon live action show.
Yeah.
What I'd really like to see, this is getting a little bit off topic, but I want to mention this. We are going to get to finally find out what happened to Commander Wolf after the Clone Wars, because he did make that 1 second appearance in the Bad Batch Season 3 trailer. I wonder if we're going to get to peel back any layers with Wolf in regards to his thoughts on the fact that Plo Koon is now dead and
his thoughts. And like side note, also it's like at first, if I'm not mistaken, when he was like a commander, like he was in like sort of like has the same uniform as like an Imperial officer.
Yeah,
he
was like a Navy officer.
And then he gets like he loses an eye and he's like a commander. I'm like, I kind of wouldn't mind seeing for that character how that happened or like an explanation.
It's in a comic,
but I would like that to be on the screen though.
It was a non-canon comic, like the Star Wars, the Clone Wars comic line from Dark Horse in 2008 or 2009.
Oh, dang.
Those are some of the best Star Wars comics. Like there's a Plo Koon comic of like also another thing I like, since we're going back to Plo Koon, is that like there was a comic I read in 6th or 7th grade. I forgot the title of it, but it was like a combination of all the Kid Fisto comics. But one of them significantly was a mission that Plo Koon and Kid Fisto went on to, I forgot this icy planet. But they defended Asajj Ventress. No, a different icy planet. Quorum, is it that one?
I know that is the comic I'm talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay,
that's the one.
Like the one where he like his arm got broken beating Asajj Ventress. Like that one. Yeah. That's I've had that comic book. Yeah.
And it had Admiral Lazel in it.
I think so. I forgot the name. Yeah.
Okay. I think we're on the same page.
Cool. So
Oh, dang.
that comic, first of all, that comic saved me in 6th grade. But it was just like I wish we had more of that because he's such a cool character. He's powerful and stuff like that. And you just like you want to get a good story, and it like he discovers Ahsoka. He like get like Kenobi and him are kind of like colleagues in a way, and like it'd be nice to kind of see like maybe like him and Mace Windu like infighting a little bit because Mace Windu like the thing about the shows that are like is like the potential of just like what we want in the prequels. Let's just expand upon that from there. And so yeah, but that's all I gotta say about Plo Koon, man. He's the goat, one of the best Jedi's.
Plo Kool.
Plo Kool.
Plo Kool. Speaking of Plo Kool, one more thing about Plo Koon is that I can't help but wonder, because since Plo Koon is that character in between characters, that's what I like calling him, because like he's such an integral part of the lore, yet there's not much exposure to him. But based on his fighting style, his attitude, the way he interacts with people, I can't help but notice, and I believe there was this YouTuber that I like called the Scoundrels Cantina who made a video about this, where Plo Koon could be a version of Anakin if he was trained by Qui-Gon. And I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty interesting because, well, Anakin knows Form 5 Gemso, right? And Plo Koon also knows a variant of Form 5, and apparently the best practitioner of it in that regard. But the difference is that Anakin is very hot-headed. He's very, he's very how do you say? He's very explosive. And plus, when it comes to upholding the Jedi values, I personally don't believe that he cared much in the way of peace. He cared more about protecting those that were closest to him, which can translate to peace. But in this context, both George Lucas and Dave Filoni both make it very apparent and very clear through what they put in the media that Anakin cares more about his friends than he does the entire galaxy, which is not a bad trait in and of itself.
No.
But given that he comes from slavery, and the fact that he lost his mother at a very early age, much less a Padawan, not seeing his mother for 10 years, that can have an effect on people, and the fact that you lose someone so close, you don't blame Anakin for going the route that he did with the circumstances that he was given. The what?
You can only blame the sand.
You can only blame the sand, bro. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Yeah, it does. And it's unfortunate that love for his friends was the tool that Palpatine used to, turn it against him.
Manipulate him, yeah.
Exactly, because he was, they weren't supposed to train Anakin. He was 9 years old, and at that point, you're too old to be considered a youngling. But they went ahead and did it anyways. But that background,
And the midichlorian count, even Master Yoda doesn't have a midichlorian count that high. So
that's
there's
right.
There was some scientific evidence to show that he was the chosen one. But yeah, no, and I just it's a good observation you made. What was that? The channel? I've heard of that channel again. Was it what?
Scoundrels Cantina. I love that channel.
Cantina. Yeah, I gotta watch them again a couple times. But yeah, no. Before this conversation, I was watching a channel called Red 5 that did like a really good analysis of Plo Koon and just like everything, the abilities he does like that. Like, no, I just think he's a really good warrior. Sorry, not warrior. He's a really good keeper of the peace, and he's very diplomatic. And he, like you said, Andres, he only uses his weapon when he needs to. Like, my last thought is, it was the end of season 2 where. They were trying to trace Boba Fett and Aura Singh, and they go to the depths of like the Coruscant.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was a really cool episode because it's also kind of nice like to see like Ahsoka interacting with Master Plo because, in my opinion, Anakin wasn't ready yet to be a master, and Plo Koon obviously was.
Right.
But I get why because Anakin's Anakin, and for Star Wars it makes more sense too. But but they had a good relationship. But the thing I liked about Plo Koon was that he was really like the adult. A lot more in the situation. It was like this is how it's done, and yeah. So no, I think it was really cool. It really showed like just the way that he talks about stuff and like don't use your weapon first. Don't like I forget the line. It's been a while, but I remember like he was very like stop. Like there are things you don't have to remember that Skywalker does all the time. Like let's think first before like act with actions, which I think Kenobi also can agree with as well.
Yeah.
In that episode, I think it was pretty cool to see how well they worked together already. Like there was such an implicit trust between Ahsoka and Plo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all Plo'd out. We got no more Plo Koon, man.
That's right. I got no more Koon in me, dude. It's all good.
You got it, Uncle Plo. Don't blow this up, Andres. Go.
Okay. All right. Now that I'm cloaked up, let's see what I can do. So let's see.
Nice.
Throughout my I'll say this. Throughout my time watching Star Wars, there have been many masters and many apprentices that I could consider learning from, and not just Jedi masters, but there's Siths with alternate points of view that from a certain point of view, you can actually see them actually making sense. Like I don't the fact that Dave Filoni actually made Dooku a lot more humanized him and rationalized his path that he takes through how do you say, through Tales of the Jedi, right? And I mean, that's good writing right there. That's masterful. And Dooku could be one of my front runners for actually learning the fundamentals from. However, I'm not going to break the mold and saying I'm going to learn from a Sith just yet. However, there is one person that I do consider worthy. Not worthy of, like, only a certain someone can teach me the ropes of this. No, but I'm saying that this warrior has a perspective that's unique amongst the Jedi Council. Someone who went against the grain, and someone who is, by all means, one of the greatest Jedi who ever lived. And not only that, but one of the greatest characters I think that ever spawned from that era. Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Excellent choice.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon, yep. Now, initially it was going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, but because and I know
that ended.
Yeah, right. And I know, simple pick or something.
We had a freaking bland miniseries to show that.
Which Kenobi?
Yeah, I was gonna rant on Kenobi for a second, but this is your time to speak, so I'll
got you.
But go ahead with your with your Qui-Gon rant. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, got you. No, so let me gin this up by saying that initially it was going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, but the difference is that being said, I don't like, despite what happened, I don't think Obi-Wan is a bad master at all. Like, not even close. He's not even I think Mace Windu is much worse, if you ask me.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, exactly. I love how quickly Ethan got into the microphone saying, "Yes, oh my God, kill him."
I'm not the biggest Mace Windu fan out here.
I don't think a lot of people are, except for Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, and I like Samuel L. Jackson.
Me too. And I think, yeah.
We're not gonna be like Star Wars theory. It's like, is Mace Windu coming back? Like everything. Like, no, he's dead. Like,
Yeah, I used to like Star Wars theory.
Me too.
Not anymore.
Yeah, then became a freaking zealot. Anyways, go ahead, sir.
We're done taking time away from you.
Yes.
Got you. Shout out to Sawyer. You're good. But going back to this, the reason why I didn't want to choose the reason why I chose Qui-Gon over Obi-Wan is due to the fact that Qui-Gon left such an impression, and with such limited screen time too, not just throughout the movies, but throughout the entire series and canon. Like, there were moments where Qui-Gon, like any other person who was caught in the crossfires of where Qui-Gon was, they would have broken down under pressure for sure. They would have lost their composure. But you don't see Qui-Gon lose his composure at all, not even close to once. Not that I know of. Like, for example, take the Phantom Menace, right? Not enough power to get us to Coruscant. The hyperdrive is leaking. You have to land in Tatooine, right? And so you have to make a call right there, because on one hand, you can't drift endlessly in space with no fuel. Otherwise, God knows where you're going to be. But at the same time, you have a princess to keep safe. And so you head for
Queen.
Queen, I'm sorry.
I'm just being an asshole.
That is true. My bad Andres. But you have to keep your queen safe. And Qui-Gon knows how to keep her queen safe by taking her to a planet full of gangsters. Yeah. But think about it like this. It's the closest planet you're going to get, and you need to find some place to regroup, right? And Qui-Gon is being hounded by Captain Panaka, that guy,
Right.
Oh, man.
the royal head of security for Queen Amidala, and I don't hate Panaka. Panaka's cool,
One of
but
the
the fact of the
one
matter is
one of
that what's up?
he's one of the best playable characters in the Legos episode 1.
I
game,
agree.
Yeah.
That's true. I love his death sound.
God, how do you know that?
This makes a nerd experience. This is what we know. This is what
It's
we
one
do.
of the things that we bonded over, man. It's the death scenes from the Lego Star Wars movie.
Nothing
Do the
beat-
Yoda one.
I was
real
gonna say
quick.
Yoda is the best one. You just breathe into the mic. Do it again.
It's hard to hear that.
It's wow.
Oh, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Weird.
That's weird.
It's a weird sound.
No, we
No,
can't
we
hear.
can't even hear it.
Okay, how about this?
Wow, it doesn't like.
No, it does. The audio doesn't want you. We can't even hear you
It's
do
a
it.
it's a forbidden sound.
It's a forbidden sound. But I
It's
think
trapped somewhere in a Sith holocron. I'm sorry, dude. I can't do it.
it's okay, man. But let's Yoda man. So we'll go back to it, man.
Got you. So Qui-Gon is not aggressive in his judgment. He's more assertive than anything else, as a Jedi should be, because think about it like this. Qui-Gon is the relationship with Queen Amidala is kind of shaky at first because she's not really gelling with each other, but this is a time of desperation, and Newt Gunray is about to conquer an entire planet of Nabooians by means of a treaty. So you have to get this kid to Coruscant. You have to protect the queen. There's so many things to juggle around, and Qui-Gon does not even flinch once, not even while he's being confronted by the first Sith apprentice in a millennia. You know what I mean? And don't even get me started on his skill with a blade. He knows Ataru Form 4, the same one that Jedi Master Yoda uses. Of course, that's great. But it's not his skill with a lightsaber. It's more his wisdom, and it's what he passes down to Obi-Wan. It's unfortunate that he died at the time that he did, because he had some great words for him. Like, even though when he volunteers to be Anakin's apprentice, when they reach Coruscant, Obi-Wan is apprehensive, saying, "Master, you cannot do this." And then Qui-Gon Jinn is like, "It's not your place. Now get on board," And then Obi-Wan realizes that, hey, although I agree with the council, I can't disagree with my own master on this. I mean, like, and Qui-Gon doesn't even take it personally, because it's kind of understandable. He understands that, that's why he's not in the council, because he doesn't agree with much of how the council is progressing. In hindsight, we know that he was right, but Qui-Gon has that sense of independence and free thought, and how do you say, and acting more as an ambassador of peace. Ironically, that's what Mace Windu says in the first episode, saying, "We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers. Look what they become, soldiers." Yeah, but and that also translates down from what Dooku taught him.
I was about to say
don't absorb blindly everything that the council tells you, because they're not always right. 1,000 years of peace has made them very complacent. It's made them very arrogant, and Qui-Gon saw through that, and he didn't want that translated to Obi-Wan. He did the best he could, but Obi-Wan was limited to the judgment of the council for the next 10 years while he was Anakin's master. Right. And how to say, although but here's the core reason as to why I would want him to train me. It's because although the things that he says might not make sense to you in their inception, in hindsight, you can see where he's coming from. And especially if you spend time and listen to what he says, I feel like it would be a treasure trove of knowledge and wisdom if you would train under him, and being one of the most based Jedi in history, you know. And if it wasn't for him, granted, we wouldn't he wouldn't have pushed Anakin to become the chosen one, you know, or pushed the council to convince them that he's the chosen one, right? Most of this wouldn't have happened in hindsight, but it's just the progression of events that happened wouldn't have happened if Qui-Gon was still alive. You know, he didn't account for Darth Maul, you know, turning him into a fish buffet or something like that, with stabbing him in the stomach. But
I mean, he might as well come back because if freaking
Everyone else.
if Sabine and Ahsoka gets like died the same way, why can't this logic now? Qui-Gon should be back on his feet in no time.
Who was the I forget her name, the villain from Obi-Wan Kenobi.
What's her? Tell me rather. Reva.
Yes.
Freaking that piece of work. She just
Reva.
Listen, the actress I think did a good job with it.
Yeah.
I just think the writing was terrible for
her name was Reva.
Right. Reva. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
No, but like no, it's just like twice.
Yeah.
You got as a kid and as an adult, you got freaking like from
Filet fished by the same dude.
playing freaking fish. You got freaking mixed spanked from this shit. Like
That's
come
what I said. Filet of fish. I stabbed Qui-Gon. But
But you know what I mean? Like I'm sorry to go from your deep TED talk about Qui-Gon as your master, but it's just an example of just like I mean Disney Star Wars is getting better, but this is just an example of just a lack of care of consistency, and that just shows like just them bleeding like and showing like why they're having so much like sometimes still issues with that. I mean, listen, Ahsoka was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, but that was definitely the biggest plot hole issue I had with there.
And there's some instances in the new media of Filoni and company being willing to push the boundaries of what is already considered canon through certain written and artistic materials.
Could you give us an example?
Yeah. Bad Batch, Kanan on Collar, when Depa Billaba gets assassinated through Order 66, and the Bad Batch are there in that moment, and that was covered in a Kanan comic book.
Right.
But the Bad Batch obviously were not in that comic book.
Right.
So they just redid that certain event to make that happen.
Was that like a Dark Horse comic? Or
no, that was a Marvel.
Oh, that was a Marvel.
Yeah,
So that's
that is a listed canon after 2014 comic book.
Wow.
That they overwrote. And then the last episode of Tales of the Jedi, which showed the events of the Ahsoka novel by E.K. Johnston, were mostly like if you look at the actual core of events, like they don't change the core, but they change certain bits and pieces of it. That like I understand why they have to do it for like screen purposes. I get it. Doesn't mean I like it. And then more recently, with the reveal of Ventress coming back in the Bad Batch season 3, and they claim they're going to write around her supposed death in Dark Disciple. I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah, no, but it's nice to see that bad bitch back in Bad Batch.
I agree.
I do. Now, and speaking of Asajj, she was a contender for someone that I would like to learn under, because like after being taken from her home at a very early, it mirrors Darth Maul in a way, except
well, the Night Sisters in a way too.
Yeah.
And exactly, and the Night Sisters as well. And given that Asajj not only was taken from her home, but she was betrayed by the only family that she ever knew in Dooku and the Sith, right? Which, by the way, that's a dick move, Dooku, or something like that, you know. But
instead of Dooku, it's Dicku.
Exactly. Count Doo-Doo. But going back to Qui-Gon, let me get back on point here.
Yeah, sorry.
It's the at the end of Kenobi, when he shows up, you know, as a Force ghost and says, about time you showed up, you know, and Obi-Wan is ready to learn about the netherworld of the Force, how to become one with it, right? I get the feeling that Qui-Gon teaches him more, but as an older man or something like that, you know, as a more seasoned, more experienced Jedi, you know, and I can see that translating very well into how Obi-Wan teaches Luke years later, And that's the reason why I was juggling between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan is kind of an interesting case of a master who taught one way. It didn't work. It didn't pan out the way he wanted it to, but he saw the opportunity with the offspring of his apprentice as a second chance to redeem himself. That grounds him to a point where he's one of the most human characters in the show. And the fact that Qui-Gon comes back to teach him even more just speaks to his masters and to his character as well. And I think these are two very, these are two very inspired choices to actually learn from.
I think also one of the biggest flaws of Kenobi was not having enough Liam Neeson to kind of like show him, like they kept sprinkling like that thing, the idea that they dropped at the end of like episode 3, where it's like, we learned like an old friend has come back to help teach the ways. Okay, cool. And then they're gonna promote, like they try to do that for Kenobi, but I'm like, if Liam Neeson could come back for like one of the episodes in like I think season 3, where it was like with the
Mortis arc.
The Mortis arc, exactly, when they're on that planet as well. You gotta get him in like an episode or something of him like just sitting down, like, you're broken. I knew it. Just get some freaking closure if you're able to do that. Like that way it kind of like he teaches him like in the future for Obi-Wan when he's talking to Luke from there, then like from Luke to Rey, and then maybe I don't know if Rey dies in the future. But anyways, that doesn't matter.
This is why Obi-Wan should have been a 10-episode show. I rest my case.
I think it should have been a movie.
That's a fair point.
I think that should have been a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Like Book of Boba Fett, that should have been a movie.
Yeah, I think Reva's time should have been cut a little bit.
No, a lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Not a Reva fan.
No, listen, Moses Ingram, you did a great job with that role. It's just the writing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
you should not deserve the social media backlash, or not backlash, but the amount of hate she got. And like, just side note, it's ridiculous that Ewan McGregor is like driving in LA or wherever he is to stop what he's doing, record, like, stop being racist and sexist to a freaking cast member to do this. It's ridiculous to the Star Wars fans, just to show how toxic they are. This is a franchise about space wizards. It's a space opera. Calm down.
Yeah, and plus I can make the argument that the characters that are most hated in this franchise in general are I consider to be one of the better ones, if you ask me. Like let's take Ahmed Best, who redeems himself in the eyes of Mandalorian season 3, right? Ahmed Best did the best he could with what he got, Hayden Christensen did exactly what George Lucas told him to do. So, like, yeah, the performance is a little bit wooden, of course, and there are a lot of lame lines, but like, I'm not gonna fault him because like that is Anakin Skywalker. I see him as Anakin because his the way he performs the character through his motions, through his stares. That's Anakin. That's Anakin Skywalker. Let's even take Kelly Marie Tran, like from the Last Jedi. Like even though I don't like her character, I don't think that Rose. Yeah, even though I don't like Rose, okay. I don't think she was performed badly at all. I think she did a good job. I think she did exactly what Rian Johnson told her to do, and she did it well.
Yeah, I just hate, like, just because you read the lines, it's not your fault. And listen, regardless of the disagreements you have, it's a freaking Star Wars thing. It's not going to affect your life for the worse. It's not going to do this. It's supposed to help you. Like, it might sound really stupid, pretentious. I like Star Wars a lot because there are things, like, as you get older, there are things you pick up on. Like the Jedi Council, for example, when you're working with people and there are things that, like, like, it's just like, how do you work with people? So when you're a kid, it's like, this is like when you see disagreements of like, then like, if you're working somewhere and you're on a sports team or whatever, whatever you are, it shows just the foundations of relationships and how to go from there, whether it be Twi'leks to humans to the best homosexual couple you ever see, C-3PO and R2-D2, like whatever you can, not homosexual, homosexual.
I'm done. I'm just kidding.
That's right, Andres. You're the best homosexual I've ever seen in my life.
That's right.
I've got a bold idea, Elliot.
Uh-oh.
What's up? What's up?
You want to join this threesome?
Yeah, well, okay, maybe later. We'll do that off camera.
Oh.
Anyways, you're talking about like the morals and stuff.
The
People
morals,
want to
yeah.
learn and everything.
Mhm.
And obviously, like with the Clone Wars, a show that's geared toward kids, they had that like slide right after the big bad intro. With like, here's what you should take away from this. What if they just did that for every Star Wars media product from now on?
That makes too much sense, Ethan. You're talking
Oh,
nonsense.
that's
They couldn't do it because it makes too much sense.
Yeah,
And it
way too
doesn't
much
make
sense.
too much money.
That's
Yeah.
right. Morals and values. What the hell is that, man? No, no,
know.
no. Just show them more lightsabers, dude.
Just show them just show more people talking. But yeah, no. So but no, I liked how this went from like a fun thing to like our just. Well, I mean, it's like stuff to get off our chest because we have not talked. I honestly, I can't remember the last time we talked about Star Wars. It's been a little minute, but
I think the last time we talked about it with Jose in yet another Star Wars rant from a year and a half ago.
no, I think we also just no, I think the last one was probably with Mike Kennedy about Kenobi.
Shout out to your boy Mike, man. That's
Mike.
that thick boy knows how to write his own Star Wars stuff, bro. Seriously.
Yeah, he's good. Actually,
Yeah,
yeah, he's good. But since we're kind of steering off the conversation a lot, I was thinking maybe we can end the episode. So to recap, you and I got Plo. We're ploned up, and then you got Mr. Qui-Gon Jinn. So I think
I'm sorry. One more thing about why I think Qui-Gon is why I would like to learn under Qui-Gon, because you see with some masters, right? You tend to see sprinkles of their knowledge here and there, but you don't notice it until you actually sit down and analyze an episode or a movie, right? Because the lessons that they give are sprinkled in a way that you don't even recognize that they're lessons, like sit in the beginning of Phantom Menace. Obi-Wan is like, I've got a bad feeling about this, and then Qui-Gon's like, I don't sense anything, and then Obi-Wan is veering off into the future, saying it's somewhere elsewhere, elusive, and then Qui-Gon says what I think one of the best lines I think I've heard in any Star Wars media. Said, don't let your mind wander off, Obi-Wan. Keep your concentration here and now where it belongs. And then Obi-Wan counters saying, but Master Yoda says I should be mindful of the future. And then Qui-Gon says, only when the moment requires it to be. I thought that moment was so cold, man, because that's the mark of someone who, although he knows Master Yoda is full of wisdom and all that, and of course you should be mindful of the future. It shouldn't get in the way of you being here and now, and even Yoda compounds this idea into Luke many years later by knocking him on the head, saying that never here, right here, don't go out there into the horizon, don't get distracted, stay here in the moment, otherwise you're gonna die.
Yeah. It was a good moment too, and that's from the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
are you all ginned out? You got your Qui-Gon on? Yeah.
I'm Qui-Gon, bro. Peace out. Subscribe to my YouTube.
Thank you, Laura Peroto. Cool. Well, I figured as time is coming to a close, I would like us to kind of end with a little bit of honorable mentions, maybe some names that you're maybe you know what
I've got one.
I have stuff to hear. Ethan, why don't you go?
All right. If I was going to go with Plo Koon, I want to redeem Nadar Veb because he failed Kit Fisto pretty badly, and I want to be the best Kit Fisto apprentice out here on these streets.
That's a good one. Nadar Veb.
No,
that Kit Fisto, I wish they had more time. That's the thing about the Clone Wars is that these are cool characters, but it's I want more of these people. Like Kit Fisto and Plo Koon. If you have that buddy cop vibe of the galaxy stuff
yeah,
like that.
The rush hour of Star Wars, man.
Maybe the rush hour of Star Wars.
That's good.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
You ain't never touched a Green Man radio.
Yeah, Green Man's radio. Oh man, that's good. So Kit Fisto would be Kit Fisto's that's a very good choice here.
He has a good smile.
He has a good smile.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
he has that that. He just I like that. Even with General Grievous, he just jerks him around, General Grievous serious. In fact, he's you can't use the he just I have the Force and you can't. He just kind of fucks with him, but obviously he's very obviously the layer of Grievous in the season 1 episode, that was. I just wanted more Kid Fisto, man. After that was such a great just driven episode about just a lot of different things. I think one of the things is just about I don't know. It's hard to say. It's been a while, but like I think one of the big themes about it is just like how like Nadar Veb died by being who'd you call it like stubborn
Yeah.
and allowing it to happen. But Kid
Yeah.
Fist was like no, and then obviously it's like it's a difficult lesson of just like sometimes it's just when you can lead a horse to water.
He wanted to show his power, right?
Yeah.
And prove prove how powerful he was to his master, and that kind of proved to be his undoing. And while we're talking about the layer of Grievous, I just want to shout out Commander Phil and Niner and Bell.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Mm.
I mean, I would drop some water for them, but I don't want to ruin the studio with that. So I appreciate that. But yeah, good fist up for you, man. I'm just, do you have one in mind, sir?
I was about to bless the camera. Okay.
Like Brian blessed?
Yeah. We shall make you Bombard General. So honorable mention. I already mentioned Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I want to mention someone that from Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and also I believe from the Dark Horse Legend comics, Kyle Katarn. Yeah. A man who started off as a simple smuggler and made his way through the ranks, learning how to become a Jedi Knight. And if you guys haven't played it, play Jedi Knight 2.
Yeah.
Like the story is incredible, the gameplay is amazing, but it's more about how Kyle learns how to be selfless with the people around him, but not only with the people around him, but towards himself. You know how to, and the fact that how he progresses from a cynical smuggler, kind of like Han Solo in a way, if he were to go down the route of the Force. But I believe Kyle is a bit more interesting due to the fact that he goes through a little bit more development philosophically, how he learns from Luke Skywalker, how he has these cool interactions with your boy Lando Calrissian, you know, like even those moments, Kyle learns a little bit more about it's like a reflection of himself and how he would originally approach a situation as a smuggler versus how he would want to approach it now as a Jedi, you know, how a Jedi would go through stuff like that. And you can
Like
actually
duality.
see the duality, and you can actually see that as the gameplay continues. You actually have choices where you can either go in with your gun because you still have your gun, but you can also sneak around, you know, with using force powers to actually solve obstacles to avoid conflict. It's like these game developers, they were cooking it back in the day, saying that like seamlessly integrating story elements into gameplay, that to me is genius. And Kyle's progression from there is insane. I love it. If Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan weren't there, Kyle would be my top pick. Kyle Katarn.
Why isn't he your top pick?
Well, it's Qui-Gon.
To compare Kyle Katarn to Qui-Gon Jinn.
Well, yeah, I like to just still, for the record, just like to compare it or whatever. If you don't have to, if you don't want to, it's your choice.
Because Qui-Gon died. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't. No, but it's the fact that it's because Qui-Gon is like a pillar of everything a Jedi, I think, should be. Yeah. And if I'm going to learn from the best of the best, Kyle is great. Don't get me wrong. He is an amazing Jedi and a great character, and he's earned his spot in Star Wars Legend. But if I'm going to be learning from the cream of the crop, you know, like it would have to be the Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah.
Nothing means nothing. I'm unjustifiably in the position I'd rather not be in. But the
cream rise to the top. Yeah.
What have I got myself into here?
Basic nerd experience.
Welcome, Ethan.
Yeah, welcome to the. So Macho Man, no, not Macho Man. Kyle
Katarn. Kyle Katarn is my runner-up.
Your pick. Okay, good choice, man.
What about you, Elliot boy?
I have a couple of notions, but it's just like I was gonna say Luke, but Last Jedi, he did not do a good job with. If we're gonna go with that logic, I don't want him killing me in my sleep. gotta go Yoda, maybe.
My man. Oh, little green
Empire Yoda.
Empire Yoda.
Like
So
that's like
not
how do you
a
like the reason why it's just it's not close. Like the reason I like Plo Koon is because he's a man. Like he sticks to his guns, and Yoda. It depends on where he goes. Why are you laughing at, Andres? What did I
I'm
say?
pretty sure because he's a man. I'm pretty sure Yoda is a man too, dude. It's just he's a different species of man.
He's more of a man, age-wise.
Damn. All right.
I'm sorry, continue. I was just being facetious and dude. Go for it.
Thanks, dude. So the thing is just, Yoda obviously I think was blind and was part of the reason why the Jedi Order failed and didn't listen and didn't do enough. And I think also the problem is that, in the movies and the TV shows, they don't really, I wish they kind of show like a little bit more of infighting or a little like, just like, disagreements with other different stuff as well that led to that. Obviously he's like this noble figure and stuff like that, but he allowed that to happen. He's part of the reason. However, though, he does sort of redeem himself with Empire Strikes Back because like, how do you beat the line do or do not? There is no try. You do
That's
it or
true.
you don't. That's a statement I live it sounds weird, but I really live by. You just you don't. I tried. No, just do it or you don't. And if you don't do it, you didn't do it. Like that's all walks of life could agree to that. Whenever you're completing your tasks and stuff from there, and so and he's just you learn a lot more when he's a hermit. And when he's out of the situation and stuff like that. So I would say, if we're gonna go a specific era, I would like Taylor Swift era. I'm gonna go Dagobah era. This is Yoda's version.
Yeah, I was gonna say Yoda's version.
How do you beat a banger line like wars not make one great?
Or just him and like R2D2 having the best lightsaber battle, just like with a stick and
Seagulls. Stop it now. Please tell me you know what I'm talking about.
We seagull. No, is that Robot Chicken?
It's bad lip reading.
Oh, I haven't watched it in a while.
Dude, I listen to bad lip reading Star Wars more often than I care to admit.
That's a blast from the past, man.
Dude, I haven't heard that in I don't know, 2 years now. Yeah, I love bad lip reading. Oh,
It's a joke with me and my dad too.
Nice. As we kind of wrap up here, as we're like finish braiding our Padawan braids. Any final thoughts?
If I had my longer hair, I would braid it too. But
I could probably do it.
Oh, you could do it. Yeah, you can definitely do it.
I will admit this on this wonderful podcast. Back in the day, I'm talking like 3rd grade through 7th grade. My hair was down to about here.
Damn.
Not like long hair. Like I had like a little thing that I kept right down the middle. And it was just kind of like a little strip. And I didn't braid it, but it was long enough that I just called it my little Padawan braid. Yes.
Wow, man.
There was an era in my life at one point, and then I got rid of it because I was bored one day and I was like, it's time for a change. Let's just snip that off.
Snips.
Yes, exactly. Snips.
Snips,
But there was a time where I was under the tutelage of some unknown Jedi.
Was it before the dark times?
Before the Empire.
Before the Empire.
Cool. Well, man, I'm sorry to see that. Maybe you can grow it out again. That'd be nice to see. Or no, maybe you be a Jedi Knight and don't have that braid anymore.
Next time I come back, I'll bring pictures of what it used to look
Please
like.
do.
Oh, please do. I'm
love to have you on
actually curious. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
I would like to propose we do a Sith episode.
Okay.
Okay.
Exactly like this, but Sith. Maybe Bounty Hunter or 2.
Which Sith which we would like to learn from?
Which Sith would you like to learn from?
Okay. Something to think about for next time.
Something to think about. No, we're not doing it now because we've vented about Plo Koon and Kid Fisto and DJ Khaled as a Jedi or these random other people that are there.
That's right. I got ginned up already, man.
That's right. Another one. Only one. Alrighty. Well, I just want to say, Ethan, thanks again for joining us today on this awesome podcast. Excited to have you on, and I'm excited to have you on even more episodes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's been
man.
Let's do this again sometime, boys.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Ethan, thank you for unique perspectives and your knowledge on Star Wars here, man. Seriously, I enjoyed it.
It's good to meet other nerds, guys.
Of course, yeah.
It's always good.
Nice. Cool. Alrighty, well, as we say goodbye, Andres, there's always one public service announcement you always say at the end of every episode. What do you have cooked up for today?
Let's see. Let's see. Well, if you're driving a speeder, make sure to put Vaseline lube on the wheels just so you know that it's not a car, it's a speeder. Okay.
Good to know. I'm gonna remember that for next
Oh
time.
man, alrighty. Well, thank you for your. Andres always has like something funny to say. So thank you for remembering to put your Vaseline on your speeder. Nothing beats when he said like, remember if you're time traveling, wear protection.
I can't
So,
believe it.
Andres, one more time for the people. What do you got to do?
If you're time traveling, use protection.
No, not that one. The other one.
Which one?
The speeder Vaseline thing.
Oh, the Vaseline thing. Okay, yeah. If you're filming in the middle of the desert and you have a car, rub Vaseline on the lower part of the lenses and you'll get a speeder. Trust me.
Alrighty. Thanks, everybody.